I pretty much always wanted to be a musician. There was never a time in my life that I didn't aspire to be a musician. My approach to composition, it really varies depending on where the initial catalyst for my idea comes from. Sometimes I'll be tinkering around on the piano and I'll just hear like a certain chord progression. Or sometimes it starts with a melody. Sometimes I'll hear a drum rhythm. Maybe I'll be looking at some things on YouTube or listening to a CD and I hear a drummer do something and I'm like, well, that would make a good rhythmic motif. Sometimes I come up with a bass line. And then whatever that initial idea, whatever it is, I used to write everything down. And since now that I have an iPhone, I'll record ideas into my phone and try to leave instructions, and I'll come back to it later. And then I'll use whatever academic knowledge I do have to try to make it into something. I'm really good at coming up with some really corny, easy songs. And what I'll usually do is I'll start with something like that, and then after that, then I'll start throwing stuff in and get carried away, and then it'll turn into the stuff that people hear. What inspired me to write the piece, at my present church, we have these small groups, and our small group, they did a study on the Pilgrims Progress. And I'd heard of the Pilgrims Progress, but I never read it before and didn't even know what it was about. And so it was really fascinating to me. And it really, my whole family really got into it deep, and we did a lot of studying on our own with it. And I just thought, like, man, this is like a really great way to mesh my two worlds together. And I also thought that there's just so much great thematic material in this that can be used. Because I always look at how can I bring out the full spectrum of emotion in my music. You've got love, hate, peace, anger, sorrow, loneliness, blah, 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 all these different emotions, and they all can bring out different colors in the music. And I thought there's just so much here. And so that's when I first started thinking about it. And I thought that the fact that that historically, literature-wise, it's such a celebrated piece. I thought that people would get a kick out of it. So I started plotting in my head. My wife and I started plotting in our heads how we would pull that off, and it kind of marinated for a couple years. And then the pandemic happened, and everything got shut down. And I thought, well, I don't have any gigs, so I have a good chunk of time that I can, if my chops go down, then it won't really matter because I don't have any gigs, so I'm gonna write. And so I spent countless hours at my computer just writing stuff and just seeing what came out. And so that's where it all started. How long did it take me to write this music? I would say the biggest part of the suite, I would say roughly about 2 years. There are 9 pieces in the overall suite. There are just so many topics that can be covered in the book, The Pilgrim's Progress. There's so many different characters and so many different places and so many different adventures that the main character was on, and it's so I could actually probably do multiple, say if I were looking at this like a CD, I could probably do like 2 or 3 CDs worth of music in order to capture, to be able to adequately capture everything that's in the book. As far as my future plans for this project, I would love to see this played in churches around America, around the world. I mean, that would be great. I love to see it played in jazz clubs. I think that there's stuff there that hopefully people, both in the church world and in the jazz world, will find edifying. Hopefully the musicians will find it musically edifying. Hopefully the people in the church will find it spiritually edifying. And that's pretty much what I wanted with this. So, one of my ultimate goals with this is I'd love to see it recorded. I really want to document it. I'd like to document it, record it, put it out. I'd love to see colleges workshop it. I'd love to not only to use professional musicians, but I'd like to play this in colleges with some young musicians. And the music's kind of challenging, and so it would have to be a very strong program, but it's that are up to the challenge. But I'd love to see that. So those are some of the things I've been thinking about. I could see this piece being used in residencies, in colleges, in churches, a lot of different possibilities. How would I describe my style, my playing style, in one word? Hopefully passionate, because that's always been a goal of mine, is to be felt in my music. For me, if I'm playing something and someone's not feeling it, then I'm not doing my job. That's so hopefully passionate will be how people could describe my music.